Now, with the release of the new Mortal Kombat trailer, a lot of people are pointing out that Raiden looks like a generic Asian guy. And they do have a point. He looks like a background character. He looks like someone that you would see in a previous installment in the franchise, just sitting in the background of a scene. Definitely not having the design worthy of being one of the main cast, and even more so worthy of being that of Raiden. So how does wokeness tie into this? Because of course it's about wokeness. It's about people that bring their morality into fiction. People who do not let artists create what they want to create. People who are very concerned about your well-being based on the type of entertainment that you want to play. The problem with Raiden is that he is inspired by the Japanese god Raiden. And as you can see, he wears something that woke people would never, ever allow a white character to wear in fiction. I know that we live in the age of the Netflix adaptation, but these people have broken down race to an absolute science, where they decide, based on how a character is born, what type of attire he is and isn't allowed to wear. And as you can see, these people are hyper focused on race. Like literally everything they talk about, everything they discuss on Twitter has to do with race. Very little do they talk about gameplay. Very little do they talk about anything other than race from the lens of an American left-leaning perspective. And as such, when they create a character like Raiden, they realize, okay, well, we can't have someone like Christopher Lambert play him. We can't have someone like Christopher Lambert model the character after the person. No. We need to hire an Asian guy. And because they can also skim on money, because they can also have like the American mindset where you have to do the talk, you have to pretend that you're anti-racist, but you don't actually have to do the actions, like you don't actually want to spend money in order to hire a renowned or a famous Japanese actor because those are expensive, then they just hire whomever is affordable, the cheapest guy, the person that no one knows about, and they use this costume and they call it a day. So this is why, when you look at the game, you see that, okay, well, Reptile has a cool design, Baraka has a cool design, all of the male characters have a cool design, except for Raiden. Because if they were to model him after the previous Raidens, which were modeled after Christopher Lambert, they would generate the controversy. And we see this happening within the game industry, right? It's not just about the female characters becoming bland, but it's also like some random mental illnesses, sensitivities that normal people don't even think about or care about, but they have to care about in order to please the ESG investors. Like, they do not want the racists on Twitter to get offended. And you see this happening with Shadow Warrior. Like, for example, the voice of the main character from the Shadow Warrior franchise was spot on. But apparently they figured out that, whoa, hold on a little bit, his parents are white, therefore he can't voice a Japanese character. So what they did is, like, they recasted the voice of the guy within the last moment before release. And you have a voice that is immersion breaking for all the fans of the Shadow Warrior franchise, which all of a sudden notice that their character sounds completely different than he used to sound before. The voice acting was rushed. Like, the overwhelming number of players, the general population, was very displeased with this decision. But a couple of minority on Twitter were incredibly happy, and they were cheering, and they were saying that, oh, well, this is how we end racism, and how we reach peak human perfection in our fight against anti-racism by convincing this multi-million-dollar corporation that makes video games to recast the voice actor because he didn't have the birthright to play that character. And this is how they think, right? Like, when you say it, it's so ridiculous. It is so crazy. It is like beyond the pale. Like, no one would think that a company which is supposed to make entertainment to please the masses actually thinks like this behind closed doors. But it's true, you know, and we see what happened with Baldur's Gate and the Thieflings things. It's like, these things go viral on social media, and they have to be very careful, because when you look at what ESG is, it's environmental, social, and governance. Environmental means like they have to pretend they care about the environment. Governance means that they have to have diversity on their board of directors. They have to hire the plump HR lady and everything else. Social means they must not create scandals online. And scandals do not count like if people are complaining about bugs or if they're complaining about the fact that the game doesn't work on launch. It only matters if people complain about racismus, sexismus, transmophobismus, right? Like, they want to avoid these types of scandals. Everything else can go fuck itself. So basically, they do not care what the customer thinks. When you say that you don't like the new depiction of Raiden, that it's bland, they don't care. Honestly, because they already got paid by their investors. And when I say they, it's like the people at the top. The only one that actually matter. If the game ends up not being a commercial success and they have to fire all the developers and they have to fire everyone besides the HR lady, they're still happy. They still got the money in the bank. The only people that suffer are the grunts that actually have to do the coding and the work for this. Everyone else is already having golden parachutes and they're already paid. So this is why they literally do not care about the overwhelming majority of people. And as you can see, Mortal Kombat, a lot of people are saying that it's lost its zing because they're not creating a game for the general audience. They're creating a game for the furries, the people on Twitter, the video game journalists, which happen to like the bear sex in Baldur's Gate. That is the people that matter. And of course, they create it for the white people at BlackRock, the ones that give up the ESG money. That's the only type of individuals that they care about. The rest, who cares? Game doesn't work on launch. Big deal. They'll patch it later. They already took your money. Right? So this is the mentality that they have. And you can notice that it's not just this game. It's like a whole thing in the industry. And I love it. It's the whole idea is not to be anti-racist. It's to pretend that you are anti-racist. Like, for example, when the Marvel movie Doctor Strange came out, and a lot of people were pointing out, why did they whitewash the mentor of Doctor Strange? The reason they whitewashed it is because it was a guy from Tibet, and they wanted to sell the movie in China, so they had to cast anything else besides a Tibetan. So they casted the bald white lady. And then the director comes up and apologizes, and it's like, oh, we did so wrong. Right? All of a sudden, it's not the best actor for the job, which is what they lie to the people, what they gaslight to the people. It's like, no, we did so wrong. But the reality, he doesn't give a fuck. He already got the money for managing to sell the movie in China. And now he's like blaming the culture of racism in the United States, which poisoned his mind and he just didn't know any better. This is what they do. They lie and they lie. We know they lie. They know we know they lie, but yet they keep lying nonetheless. And this is why I even make the video, because at the end of the day, I don't care that much about this particular issue. But it's just like the constant lying and the constant gaslighting. Like, you want to, do whatever, just do it and say why you're doing it. Just say, well, we didn't want to hire an expensive actor to play Raiden because we're a cheap company and we're like incredibly greedy. We need a lot of money to play the HR lady and the diversity officer. They cost a lot, so we need to make a lot of cash in order to put food on their table, right? Like, just come out and say that. Why do you have to lie to people is what I want to know. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.